today to share our experience as a provider agency in the southern part of New Jersey. We've been involved in working with individuals through the transition process probably for about the past 6 or 7 years. Our involvement with working with individuals and families really builds upon the principles of self-determination as we allow families and individuals to make their own choices and to really take the responsibilities for creating their own lives. As a provider agency, we've played a role in assisting to bridge that gap between school and adult life, particularly with vocational supports. We believe very strongly in employment first, that everybody has that opportunity to seek employment if that is of their choosing. As an agency, as Trish mentioned, we do contract with many of the local school districts to provide that transition piece during high school. We're also an agency through DVR, the Division of Vocational Rehab, and provide vocational supports in terms of job development and job coaching and the long-term follow-along piece. And we're also a contracted agency through DDD for self-directed day services as well as support and employment. And as I'll share a few stories of individuals and families that we work with, in many cases that really does become seamless, and you really can work through the systems and actually provide the services and supports that are seamless to others except for the funding source. While in high school, it's important for students obviously to get as much community experience as possible, because that's where you'll really get an understanding of what it is that you're interested in, what your skills are, what your strengths are, what your talents are. And as a large agency in the South Jersey area, we do have many contacts with a lot of different organizations. So we feel fortunate that through many of our connections, we have been able to provide a lot of good community experiences. Like all students, the more experiences you get, the more we understand what it is that we like, the more we'll likely find what it is we want to do, and the more likely we'll be successful. So we encourage a lot of job sampling during high school when that's possible. And we believe it's really critical not to begin that job sampling opportunities really during the last year or the last 2 years, but that really, as best possible, should be something that begins really early on. Really, even in your home, even in terms of helping, your child gain responsibility for chores or for doing things around the home. Certainly throughout school and certainly throughout high school in the community. As an agency that's been involved with students during high school, we also can be a contributing partner at the annual IEP meetings, especially during that last meeting when that bridge is really critical to leaping forward to some of the other types of supports and resources that are available after graduation. Since students are unable to receive supports from DVR until that graduation, which is something that I think many of you who are involved in the system would understand, we do really try to advise families to make that connection with their DVR counselor prior to graduation, set up that appointment, set up at least the contacts so that when you do graduate and you do have the diploma, you are then able to go to DVR and begin services. In some cases, it has even been the day after graduation. For those individuals that we've worked with who do have a paid job and were able to continue that job after graduation, our role as a supported employment vendor may be very brief. Or for those that are looking for paid employment, it could be more involved. If someone's continuing on with a job after graduation, the types of supports that we may provide as an agency may be very brief because they have this job, and they're very fortunate to be able to continue on with the job. So the types of things we may provide might be transportation training, or it might be figuring out a new schedule, or it might be just even figuring out what transportation might be available. It might be short-lived, and then hopefully that person then will continue on independently in that job and will provide supports through what's termed long-term follow-along. We recently have worked with a client a young student who worked in the kitchen during high school at a restaurant. And when he graduated, he was given this opportunity to be able to stay on and continue his employment. His job coaching support was minimal in that case, and it was only 3 days a week that he was working. And the job coaching support that was necessary was really not to help him learn that job, because he knew that job, but to learn some of the new skills, such as additional skills in food preparation, because when he was in school, he didn't have the ability to be able to use a knife or use some of the utensils in the kitchen. So he was able to do that through some of that minimal job coaching. But he was only working 3 days a week. And his mom said to us as an agency, what else? Now that's great, 3 days, and he was very fortunate to have something for 3 days, but now what would he do? And, and as self-directed day services started to come about more, as an agency, we were able to create a creative day program. It's an intergenerational day program that's housed in a senior citizen complex down in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And the programming there that we do is some creative arts, some life skills, some music, some dance, with many of the seniors who are residing in this complex. And that's something that has been funded through DDD, Self-Directed Day Services, and it really has provided a complement to a lot of the families that we work with. If their child, if the individual is working during the week a couple of days, they have this opportunity to attend another program, which really then provides a full week and a week that's full of activities that they're interested in doing. Another young man that we've worked with, who you'll hear the story more in detail as they're sitting right next to me today, worked at Wawa when he was in high school. And after graduation, Andrew was able to stay on and continue with his job. Now again, he had a job coach during high school, and he provided that supports were provided through DVR after high school. But for Andrew to continue to be successful at his job, he did need a little bit more support than the time-limited job coaching. And here's where that marriage of the different services really works, in that he had supports during high school to learn some of the skills on the job. After high school, he went to DVR, and he was able to get some of the minimal intensive job coaching supports, again, to work with the new schedule, the new supervisor, some of the new responsibilities at work. And then, because there was a need for some more ongoing support afterwards, therefore, we were able to use the self-directed day services and have an individual direct support person work with him at his job afterwards, and continues to work with him to allow him to continue to be successful. So to the employer, it was really invisible. He was able to still succeed at his job, and the only thing that really did change was who was funding the agency that provided the supports for him. That was a great example, really, of how, with some forethought, and how working with an agency can help provide that seamless type of transition. As Trish also mentioned, since the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, has been implemented between DVR and DDD, we've worked with many individuals to combine the two funding sources and to receive the supports to create very individualized plans. Many work independently and just supplement their weeks with self-directed day services support. Some work with supports actually out in the community. And the supports may just be for part of their job. Obviously, we really want to try foster independence on the job as much as possible. And in many cases, we've worked with employers that half of the job they may have job supports, and the other half they may be working independently. And many may choose not to work, and that's obviously a choice, and choose to do different things with their free time. And we've been able to help families figure out what some of those other activities would be. And perhaps at a later date, maybe they would want to come back and do some work. The options are really endless. And as an agency, it's really exciting to partner with families to help them achieve their dreams. And today is really about the stories you're going to hear, because that's really what this is really all about. And you'll hear from the individuals and the families of how they can really work together to help create a meaningful life. But there are three thoughts that I just want to offer you before I pass along the mic. And that is really to be creative in using your resources within the community. You know, you just don't know. The pizza place you attend all the time, or the gym you go to, or, you know, or your own congregations of worship. These are all places to connect, and these are all places where maybe jobs may be, maybe just experiences to meet new people, and just opportunities to spend some parts of your day. Second, believe that there are many options out there if something doesn't work. And with many family, we've gone back and, you know, if something didn't work, and let's rethink it, and let's try to figure out what the next step is and the next option. And three, never feel that you're doing this alone. This is something that we could all pull together. We all have resources, and it's something that, as a team, we really can help to provide really meaningful work weeks for everybody.